The four things I mentioned before: cover, layout, copywriting, and editing / proofreading. Those are the four things I think cannot be overlooked. I recently had a kind of an associate of mine, so a friend of a friend who was launching a book. And when I looked at the thumbnail on Amazon, I couldn't see two of the four words in the title. And the subtitle ended in a preposition, which is just bad English. And so I sent her a message and I said, just to let you know, you will overlook something and you won't know why you overlook it. But people really do judge a book by its cover. You have to have an amazing cover. But your copywriting, your sales copy, the back cover copy of the book, all the same thing. The book description, those are all the same thing. It has to be well written. You have to edit your book and proofread your book. It has to be well done. And finally, that layout has to be fine. Yes, it's easy to do it on Amazon, but that doesn't mean that you should take the easy way, because you'll notice that a book will come up. I'll watch a book that comes up in a category and knocks me out of the number one spot. So I have 4 books right now in the top 20 of one category. I have only 4 books in that category, and all 4 of them are in the top 20. And so there's a hot new release that's been there for 5 days. I'm still number 1. It's number 2. My book's been out for 6 months. But that book will go away because I've looked at it. I've just looked at the book, the sales description, the author's bio. They're just not a professional author, if that makes sense. And so their book will go away. I would rather take a little bit more time and put a little bit more money in my book and have it make money for me for 10 or 20 years. And more importantly, impact more lives for that long, rather than go into obscurity.
Right. Do you ever see a book kind of making a comeback after it's kind of flopped in the earlier stages? Like, have you seen
Yes,
that happen? Like when you
I
have a
have.
book that's launched, it's like, it didn't really kill it at launch, but a year later, suddenly someone picks it up and brings attention to it.
Yes, because the author continued to market it and continue to stay in the game. And so I was talking to a book professional yesterday, and I said, I believe there are 2 phases of a book's life: from the day you decide to write your book until 30 days after its release, right? That hot new release period on Amazon or on a retailer. And I said, and then there's day 31 until you die. That's phase 2. And if you never stop marketing your book, you never know when it's going to gain traction. You never know when someone who has influence or people who have influence are going to share your book. And as long as you don't give up on your book, there is a chance that your book will gain momentum over time.
And where do you see the best traction from a marketing standpoint? Is it getting more experienced authors to share your book? Is there kind of is there a better, more dominant way to market, especially on the self-published side? On a first book basis, of course, when you have some experience, it's different.
Oh, sure. So if you're talking a first time author, their first book business, then I always advise people to go make friends with other influencers, especially if they're authors in their field, but come from a give perspective. So that's why the marketing starts when you first think about writing a book. You have to think about who are the people who have your ideal reader as their ideal reader or follower, and get in relationship with them. I think building your email list should have started 20 years ago, but if it didn't, today is as good a day as any. Because you have to be able to connect with your customers one-on-one, and then treat that list of people like they're your friends. Write to them as though you're having a relationship, like as a person is writing it, not as though a number is reading that email. And then social media plays a component. I love the book Sell More Books with Less Social Media by Chris Syme, Syme, because it really gives people step-by-step instructions for how to utilize social media without always being on social media. And I think building a blog presence, like expanding on the topic of your book and writing, so that when people discover your book, even if they're not book readers, if they don't read a book, if they would never read a book or listen to a book, they might get a little snippet of information from a blog post. And as a nonfiction professional writing a book, you're wanting someone to hire you. That's one of the outcomes of your book. So the person who reads a blog post by you may just pick up the phone and say, you're hired. Here's my Amex card number, go. And that's usually an outcome that people enjoy.
So you're a believer that, obviously to be an expert, you have to keep writing even past your book, like meaning on blogs and other places. Like you can't just stick to being known for a book.
Yes, but I have to say I have employed a strategy I haven't really talked very much about, which I'm happy to share, and that is writing evergreen content that you can recycle.
Okay,
And
so let's
so,
talk about that because I
yeah,
do a lot of that. I know exactly what you mean, kind of more timeless content that's not just
yes.
specific to what's going on right now.
Correct. So I wrote a book series, The Successful Single Mom. There are 6 books in that series. I haven't been a single mom for 9 years. I built that platform, um, built an incredible empire out of that particular platform, the single mom platform. But I recognized that after a while, I could only talk so much about the things that were interesting to single moms: making more money, staying in shape, love and dating, sex, building a career, going back to school. I had recycled those, and then I realized, oh wait a second, someone who read my blog a time ago, I identified the time for that cycle to be 2 years. Someone who read a blog post of mine 2 years ago probably wouldn't remember that they read that blog post 2 years ago. And so I identified 48 blogs at 2 blogs a month that recycle.
And is
So
that, I mean, was that strategy because you want kind of the timeless expertise,
yeah.
like to kind of remain there for years because you kind of commit to that niche or that field?
Oh, yes, I still have tens of thousands, almost 100,000 unique visitors to my blog every single month because there's a new single mom every single day. I'm just not in that niche day by day thinking about that, writing a daily blog post like I used to. So I picked the 48 blog posts that I felt were the most popular, most important, and I just recycle them, which is great for SEO because the blog post doesn't change, the hits don't change, the number of visits don't change. I just make the blog post that's new on March 23rd, 2017 will be the brand new blog post on March 20th of 2019. The single mom audience, I discovered women stay single between 1 and 4 years. So I have an always a new crop of single moms that are coming and finding my information. They're empowered by it, inspired by it. And so do I think people need to keep writing? Yes. If I had been a little more strategic in the beginning, if I had known, I would have written 48 blog posts and then gotten on with my day and set up my empire to be revenue generating long after I had moved on to something else.